in Westchester, where the Democrats are holding the 2010 statewide committee convention. They will nominate their candidates and try to hold on to power after a very turbulent 4 years. So the signs everywhere say New Democratic Party. What's new about it?
New is the commitment to actually seeing real action for the people of the state of New York. We've got the same values, we've got the same principles, we're still fighting for reform. But this time we've come up front with an agenda for change here in New York, led by Andrew Cuomo, and there is that new commitment to make sure that in January, when our new administration takes over, we see action and we see results.
You've got 4 bad years to make up for. The Republicans are certainly going to be pointing that out. How will you overcome that?
Well, you can say they're 4 bad years. They've been 4 difficult years. There's no question there've been problems, and I think in many respects we've done very well under very tough circumstances. But that doesn't compare to the decades, frankly, of Republican majority rule in the state Senate, where they had all of the power in a very wide majority and got nothing done that helped the people. Over the years that the Republicans have been in power, actually over just 2 decades, property taxes on Long Island have gone up 320%. So, I think we've got work to do. There's no question about it. But I don't want to be here comparing records. I think our record stands well ahead of what our Republican friends have done.
In New York, perhaps more than anywhere else in the country, Jewish voters have been more willing, although traditionally Democrats, to cross party lines and support Republican candidates like George Pataki, Al D'Amato, Rudy Giuliani. Are you concerned about that this year?
Well, I'm always concerned about it. I find it disappointing. I think that folks have to take a look at the broader agenda, and it's a progressive agenda. And I know that the rich culture of Jewish Americans, particularly in the New York area, has always favored that progressive agenda, looking out for others, looking out for the less fortunate, remembering the roots of how difficult it was when their ancestors first got here to this country. I'm familiar with that personally, and that's why it always disappoints me, I think, when other distractions pull our base vote, what should be our base vote, in a different direction. I'm hopeful that we can inspire Jewish Americans to come back to the Democratic line in full force this November.
Thank you very much. The Democrats are trying to reboot their image with these New Democrat signs. What do they have to do to change their image?
Oh, our image is fine. What we're going to do under the leadership of Andrew Cuomo is make sure that the people hear our message, and they hear it that we are trying to be responsive to the needs of the people of the state of New York. And we're going to reform this state. The political system, the way it's been functioning, needs a little repair, and under Andrew's leadership, I think we're going to get that.
Most of the scandals of the last few years have been tied to Democrats. How do they get past that and regain trust of voters?
Well, as they say, there's always a few bad apples. Unfortunately, some of them have been Democrats. That just happens. Individuals go off on their own and take liberties in ways that they shouldn't. But I think that the record of Andrew Cuomo as somebody who strongly believes in the importance of public integrity is unmatched. We saw that, we've seen it throughout his career, and we've certainly seen it in 4 years he's been as Attorney General. And I think if you look at his agenda for the next 4 years, I think we're going to have great radical reform that's going to improve the lives of all New Yorkers.
So I understand the NJDC is taking on a new role in this year's campaign.
NJDC's focus and strategy this year from our New York Board of Directors is focusing on the New York State races. Our long-time goal always has been for National Jewish Democratic Council National to focus on federal, Senate, and House seats, which we will continue to do. However, this year we will be developing our state relationships and focusing on 2 or 3 significant races where we can make a difference, getting out the Jewish vote, concentrating on the concerns of the Jewish community's values and issues, and having a seat at the table at the New York State Democratic Convention.
We have the hardest working, most dedicated, most talented, most educated labor force in the country, in our state. And we have to set the conditions and climate right so that businesses will come and employ people, like the lady in Rochester or the gentleman from Long Island who are looking for jobs for so long. We have to do that, and there is no more important task, and that's what I am dedicated to doing over the next years. That's what government's supposed to do. Not get in your way, not abandon you. Find a way to lighten your load, whether it's paying the high cost of tuition or getting good health care or finding a job. That's what government's supposed to do.
Your hard times out there and the voter anger, what do you attribute the lack of really strong Republican resistance to you and the Senator Schumer?
Ideas to the table and making a difference. And what I've done all year is travel across the state. I've been to every one of the 62 counties and talking about what my vision for the state is and what I'm going to do to create those jobs, to cut middle class taxes and help small businesses grow. But I don't take a backseat to anybody. And the reality is that anybody who wants to run should run. And I will fight for New York, and New Yorkers will know that I'm fighting for them.
Senator, you're backed up by signs.
Some voters upstate believe we've abandoned them on issues like guns and gay marriage and so on. What do you say to that?
I support upstate New York as much as any place in New York, and they know that. They know that I fight for them as hard as I've ever fought for them. And that our shared values of creating jobs, of helping middle-class families, protect their children, are very much in line.
The Attorney General's race seems to be the only real contentious race this year. What is your strategy, and what are some of the issues involved?
Well, we've been very active talking about things that actually matter in the lives of people. For example, my work on fixing the MTA, the work I did on stopping Jet Stadium on the west side of Manhattan, Yankee Stadium, authority reform, property tax relief, things that matter to average middle-class people. That's what this race is going to be about.
Well, the fundamental issue in the Attorney General's race, to me, is restoring public confidence in our major institutions, both the public and private sector. No one thinks there's one set of rules for everybody anymore. They think big banks don't have to follow the rules, insurance companies, they think elected officials, public officials don't have to follow the same rules everyone else does. As Attorney General, I will make sure that everyone understands there's one set of laws for the rich and powerful and one set of laws for everyone else. It's the same set of laws.
It's all about reform. It's about ensuring that everyone on Wall Street plays by the rules. It's about ensuring that we get real ethics reform in Albany to ensure that the public can have the confidence in their state government that they need. And it's all about, you know, the kitchen table issues like the consumer fraud and getting illegal guns off our streets and keeping our communities safe. Those are the things that I'm going to be talking about in this race.
I want to fight for families like the one I grew up in. I'm the son of immigrants. I grew up in a lower middle class family, a union household. My dad was out of work quite a bit, and we couldn't afford a lawyer. So the New York Attorney General is really their lawyer, and I want to fight for folks in the workplace. I want to fight for the environment. I want to be there for them.
So why do you think it is that they're allowing all 5 Attorney General candidates on the ballot rather than designate somebody today?
I think they want to prevent a fight, and I think ultimately it will benefit Kathleen Rice. I think Kathleen will, one woman against 4 men are always good odds.
Is it also a concern about increasing turnout on Election Day if there's no other primary contests that are combative?
I think there's some concern, but with Andrew at the top of the ticket, there's going to be a high turnout. I don't think that's the issue.
What are the Democrats' chances this year of holding on to a large percentage of the Jewish vote?
I think locally and statewide, the Jewish community has historically supported the Democratic Party. Obviously, there's a shift in the Orthodox community and the Hasidic community to vote Republican, but I don't think that we will see a significant increase, because most of the statewide offices, at least at the governor level and at the Senate level, will probably be retained by the Democrats. I think you will see the Jewish community supporting those candidates. Chuck Schumer is very, very popular, and I think he'll do very well.